Power. Ooh, ooh. There I am. Good morning. And what's even funnier is I can't see him up there. Light of
with our fall gear are sort of willing our way into autumn, I think. Anyway, everyone survive any power outages? I see you're all here. Yeah. So I'm Desiree Goyette. I'm happy to be your guest artist this morning along with my husband, Ed Bogus, and our daughter, Lily Nicole. It's all family here. And I understand this is the end of week 4, I believe, of your book study. Is that right? Heading into week 5, how's that going? Nice? We like it? So in the spirit of galvanizing all that you are learning, let's sing or the theme song for the book study. And I would ask Carolyn and anyone else who wants to stand up and help me with it. That'd be wonderful. But since Carolyn wrote it, especially since she's here, yes. Anyone else? Yes, let's stand up to do it. That's the name, stand up. All right. time to do what's right. Wake up, wake up. It's time to shine your light. Wake up, wake up. 'Cause if it comes to you, you know it's yours to do. The truth will see you through. So wake up, rise up, stand up. It's time to do what's right. Stand up, stand up, stand up. It's time to shine your light. Stand up, stand up. 'Cause if it comes to you, you know it's yours to do. The truth will see you through. So stand up, rise up to do what's right. Rise up, rise up. It's time to shine your light. Rise up, rise up. 'Cause if it comes to you, you know it's yours to do. The truth will see you through. So rise up, wake up, wake up. Stand up, stand up. Rise up, rise up.
Good morning, Unity in Marin. My name is Lisa Starbird, and I'm very grateful to be able to be part of the Sunday service with you today. Reverend Tim is, hello, there we go, is that better? All right, now we're on. So, good morning, we're just so glad you're here this morning. Reverend Tim Lytle is our senior minister, and he is with his family this week, and we have Reverend Medora Gordon. She is leading us today with our talk today, so we're so grateful for that. At Unity in Marin, we consciously came up with a vision statement. Please join me and say this with me. We are a spiritual community committed to authenticity and the expression of love and support for each other in living an awakened, enlightened life. And Desiree, we'd love the next song.
In celebration of Indigenous Peoples Day, we'd like to do some drumming. Those of you, I saw some drums being brought in, so if anyone has those, feel free to join us in this lovely chant which Carolyn brought to my attention. And it's quite simple, and the words are there. And we might swap out love for spirit or joy for spirit, but we'll always end with Spirit am I at the end. And this is how it goes. Spirit above me, Spirit below me, Spirit in front of me, Spirit behind, Spirit all around me, Spirit am I. All right, let's begin with a couple of rounds of your drumming, and then we'll all sing that together, okay? Spirit above me, Spirit below me, Spirit in front of me, Spirit behind, Spirit all around me, Spirit am I. Now let's do love. Love is above me, love is below me, love is in front of me, love is behind, love is all around me, Spirit am I. Shall we try joy? Here we go. Joy is above me, joy is below me, Joy is in front of me, joy is behind, joy is all around me. Spirit am I. Let's repeat. Spirit am I, Spirit am I.
We're going to be doing a little bit more in the whole chanting native world today. So as I do the ministerial prayer, this thing you just did, a little more of that, quietly, softly. Do it a little bit and I'll come. See yourselves in this space as our ancestors were, in this time and in this place and on this very soil. We come together this morning honoring all of those that have gone before us, hearing them, knowing they are here amongst us, even as we breathe and as we live and as we are one. We honor the earth, we honor one another, and we honor all that is. And so it is. Amen.
With that prayer, we'd like to invite the prayer chaplain forward to bring up your prayers of the community. And thank you. So as the prayer chaplain comes forward with the prayer box, your prayers are in the community. So.
Here we go. There it is. Thank you. I'll be doing the divine reading, and then after the divine reading, we'll go into a silent meditation. The divine reading is the repeopling of the world. Silver Fox is one of the culture heroes of the Miwok. The heroes create the world and teach the people how to live. Silver Fox is the more serious and wise of the heroes, and in Miwok mythology, Silver Fox is portrayed as female. Chief Eagle said, "Where is Silver Fox? She must try to resurrect the people. What shall we do about our dead people? Who is going to help us? Tell Silver Fox to think. Tell Silver Fox to think intently. All human beings are dead." So Eagle said to Silver Fox. Silver Fox said, "I do not know how I shall bring them back to life." But she continued, "I will try to bring them back. I will try to bring them back." She went to the top of a rock and slept. She dreamed that she saw a skeleton. Then she went to the chief and told him that she had seen a skeleton in her dream. The chief sent her back, saying, "That may help us. Go back to sleep again. If you dream again, do not arise. The skeleton may talk to you." Silver Fox said, "No one helps the chief. He feels lonely. He mourns each day for the dead Indians." Then Silver Fox dreamed of the skeleton again. The skeleton awakened her and told her to sing. The skeleton said, "If you sing, the people will return." Silver Fox sang in a great cave. Silver Fox sang, "Come back, all of you girls, come back, come back. Come back, all of you old people, come back, come back. Come back, all of you women, come back, come back. Come back, all of you men." Thus sang Silver Fox. when she called the people back after Eagle asked her to resurrect them. Prairie Falcon told Silver Fox to try harder to bring about the return of humankind. Silver Fox sang and cried for days and nights. Eagle cried. He said to Prairie Falcon, "I do not think Silver Fox will bring our people back." Silver Fox said, "The skeleton told me that if I sang loudly each morning, some of the people would return, but not all." Then Silver Fox went to the chief and said, "The skeleton told me that by singing loudly every morning, some of the people would return, but not all of them." The chief felt a bit better after he had this word from Silver Fox. Silver Fox said, "I think that I shall bring my people back. I think I shall." She felt very happy when she said this to the chief, and then she continued, "I will go back to the cave and sing." And again she sang. She sang in the morning. First she brought one old man back to life. She tried to talk to the old man, but the latter would not answer him. The old man did not even shake his head. Silver Fox said, "I will try more singing." Silver Fox then visited the chief and told him, "I shall bring the people back, but they will not be the same people. They will be very nearly the same people, but they will be a little different." And the chief laughed. Then Silver Fox ran around the rock shouting, and she felt glad that she had resurrected the people. She said, "Now there are many people. I brought them back. Now they are nearly the same as they were before." Then she climbed a hill. She ran around the hill singing, and Chief Eagle said, "She has made the same people. Silver Fox has done well." And he was glad to see his people alive again. All of the people returned. The chief was glad to see his people. He said, "Silver Fox did it all." The chief told Prairie Falcon, "Silver Fox secured the return of the people through the help of the skeleton." Then Silver Fox shouted, because she was glad that she had brought back her people. Silver Fox said, "I do not know what happened to us. I do not know what it was that killed our old folks," but she was glad to see her people again. Then she stopped singing. She said, "It's all right. It is all right." But as she spoke, she began singing again. Then she became accustomed to singing, and she continues to do so to this day. Into the silence.
Is this on? I was going to joke that I wrote this song, but I can't do that. Please feel free to sing along. Please feel free to sing along. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It's not hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Oops. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Ooh. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Ooh. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope one day you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Isn't that wonderful? We have our very own John Lennon. Good morning. I am in this echo chamber. So imagine we're in a cave this morning. Yeah. Got to watch that song, though, because it was said no religion, too. And I'm thinking, oh, my, there's no religion. But this is the welcome portion where I welcome all of you, and I do welcome all of you. Thank you so very, very much for being here. And I see the ushers coming forward, but I don't see any mugs. We don't have any mugs, and nobody told me. So anyway, for all of you that are new here, is there anyone who is here for the first time? Please raise your hand if you are here for the first time, and the ushers will give you some information about us so that you will know more about us as you leave. Welcome, we are glad you're here. Thank you for coming. And thank you too to the people that are on our live streaming. We call them love streamers here, but that's all of our live streaming virtual community that is growing. So as we sit here amongst ourselves this morning, we discover that it isn't only just us, that there are people out there somewhere that are all over the world that are also watching and participating with us. I am supposed to tell you that there is a text in church. Excuse me for turning. I don't know the phone number. There it is up there. That is the number. If you are a newcomer, you can put in that number and get all the information you need about us. If you have been here forever, you do text and the word loop, and that involves you then in everything that's going on in the community. So you're going to see less paperwork in the mornings on Sundays and more virtual information. So in finding out what we are and what we're doing, that's the way. So again, welcome. It's lovely to have you all here, and thank you for coming.
So there are many opportunities to connect here at Unity in Marin. And is it on? There we go. We're good. Now we're good. They say I'm good. Yes? Thank you. Okay. So now there are many opportunities to connect here at Unity in Marin, Sunday services as you're all here today. But we've got a lot of other things going on. I'm only going to highlight the things that are happening this week because we have so many things. And I'm just going to do it briefly. You can always get more information from our website, from our Facebook page, or the good old-fashioned way, talk to us in the courtyard at the hub. Any of the volunteers will be able to tell you about some of the many activities that we have going. So this Monday, tomorrow, is going to be Fall Cleanup Day, and we need some volunteers to help out with that. And it'll be from 10 to 3. Sign up in the hub underneath the tent, and for if you're interested in helping us with that. And also, just so that you know, Unity in Marin is a scent-free zone. So there are many people who are sensitive to smells, so please be considerate of others. Wednesday nights, that's my heart. I truly believe in the healing power of music, and this Wednesday, you're in for quite a treat. We have a soulful, mystical evening with poetry and musical harmonies that will really reach into your spirits. We have Shocky Roth, Cy Perkoff, and Paul Aubert are going to be playing piano and sax and flute and bass, and it's just going to be something very, very special. And I also want to invite you to put Wednesday nights as part of your spiritual practice. That way you've got Sundays, you've got Wednesdays, you've got Sundays again, and then you've got all the other events in between, but that really helps anchor, and it's a great time to come and connect with each other. So we'll hope to see you on Wednesday, and one of the great things now is Wednesdays will be live streaming as well. So if you're not able to be here, you can live stream it and be here, and then you're going to be going, oh my gosh, I wish I had been there, right? So live streamers and Tech Booth, Connect, and Olivia, I just want to put a shout out to you. Thank you so much for the gift of your sacred service. We couldn't do it without you, for sure. Have you ever wondered if there is life after death? We have a monthly Life After Death series that Ellie Shamber puts on, and guest speakers come in and they share their experiences with us. This Friday, Mary Neal will be speaking. If this is something that speaks to you, please be sure to be here. The Conscious Aging Workshop that was scheduled to start this Friday will not meet this week. It'll be rescheduled soon. So now please stand as you are able and join us in singing our statement of truth.
There is only one power, only one presence, active in all my life and in the universe. God the good in all, through all and over all. There is only one power, only one presence, active in all my
also did not write this song. You should know. Where's... Oh, here it is. Just kidding. All right.
Lily is opening in the production of 9 at the Marin School of the Arts next month. She wants to speak with an Italian accent.
Yes. If you know how to speak with an Italian accent, come up to me after.
She also, since we were last here,
Mom.
the top 10 finalists in the Michael Feinstein's American Songbook Academy. Got to work with Michael Feinstein.
This is not about me. Mom. Use the mic.
Oh, thank you. And she'll be appearing in a private concert, solo concert, an evening of Gershwin at the Green Music Center next week. That's all for now.
They don't need to know about that.
And
Mom, that's enough.
about this song, Medora had requested this song, and Medora had requested that Lily sing this song, and we think it's obviously perfect for today. And I'll just say, not to go Elizabeth Warren on you, but we also are part Indigenous American. Yeah. So.
Think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or asked the grinning bobcat why he grinned? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you, and for once never wonder what they're worth. The rainstorm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends, and we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. How high will the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, you'll never know. to paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth and still all you own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the
Isn't she wonderful? There's just no other way to put it. Thank you, Lily. That song means a lot to me. I hope it means as much to all of you. I particularly insisted hard to get to do this talk today because I think it's important that we honor Indigenous people, and we all grew up with this being Columbus Day weekend, and I understand that's important to many, but Indigenous people, I think it's really important to honor those that are sometimes forgotten. And I have to own that I too have the possibility of being part Indigenous. Through my family, there has always been this tale that my father, who worked for the government all of his life, had a letter. And it would be from the Bureau of, wasn't Indian Affairs at that time, it was like the Bureau of Labor Statistics or something like that. And I was going through his things when he passed away, and sure enough, here's this letter. And it's typed on a sort of government-y looking paper, and it says that my father was in fact registered 1/4 with the Mohawk Iroquois Nation, which would be Algonquin is the particular tribe. Mohawk Nation was huge, but the Algonquins were this particular tribe. And I think it's a possibility. So if he's 1/4, then that probably makes me an 1/8, maybe. So I've always sort of owned that I was part Indian. And only thing that makes me suspicious is that this letter was typed on the very same kind of typewriter that my father used to use. And it doesn't have any particular stamps or seals or anything that makes it look really official. It's just this letter typed on my dad's black Royal that I learned to type on in the old days before electric typewriters. So I want to think I'm part Indian. And so for today, I'm going to be. So hang on. The other thing that I wanted to do is I really want to honor the traditions of the Indigenous people. And I hope that the storyteller, there we go. The storyteller is a major part of almost every Indian community. Every tribe had a history teller, a storyteller, and you've seen them there. They look like this, they look different sizes and shapes. And in collecting the art, when you see storytellers, the more children that the storyteller is holding, the wider the nation, the better the piece, the more important the art. So storytellers told the history of the people. They told the history of the land. They told the beginnings. They offered an inside glimpse of life as it's going on today. They offered a history of the spirituality. The storyteller is a person that helps the tribe hold it all together. And those of you who know me well know that you're my tribe. I have always thought that from the day I came on staff here. You are my tribe, and so for the purposes of this morning, I am your storyteller. We're going to begin with the Miwok people because this is where we are. Miwok is a word that it signifies the people. So you'll hear me referring to the people did this and the people did that. And whenever you hear me say that, please understand that I'm referring to our ancestors, the Miwoks. Coastal Miwoks, it's a large, large nation, but the coastal Miwoks ranged from the Golden Gate north about 45 miles to a place called Duncan's Point, which is on the Pacific coast. Ranged inland, ranged up that far. It was large, a very large area. And the people settled on the north side of the bay. They didn't settle in San Francisco or that side. They settled north. And they established major villages. There was a path that kind of ran along the bay, and the path, they think now, is adjacent to our Highway 101. So as you're out there driving back and forth on Highway 101, remember that the Miwok trails were there, roughly in that same vicinity. Now, the Miwok people discarded shells and artifacts that gradually build up into what are called middens. So you can hear them, they'll refer to them as shell mounds. And that's a midden, and it was kind of like sort of like a trash heap, all right? And they established 400 middens in Marin County alone. One midden in Larkspur, which was actually excavated in 2014, so it was only 5 years ago. So it's very current. Found that it had human remains, a ceremonial condor burial site, musical instruments, throwing sticks that dated from a time before bows and arrows, and the bones of about 100 grizzly and black bear. It's thought that these artifacts are 4,500 years old. So it's not like we came in on the last load of logs, right? 4,500 years we have been settling this land. Unity in Marin is located right in the heart of Miwok country. And we quite possibly right here, right now, with our feet on the floor in this place, are on the very trail in which our ancestors walked. And I think that they communicate with us. Sometimes if you're here at night and there's no one else around or it's very quiet, I swear to you, you can hear them singing. You can hear them walking. You can hear them. They are here. The Miwok story is one of continuity, change, persistence. But unfortunately, the rich native culture that built up over the years was mostly destroyed during the mission era, between 1769 and 1830. Starting in 1769, the Franciscan missionaries forcibly relocated many of the people from their native dwellings to the Franciscan missions up and down the coast. The once proud Miwoks became slave labor to the missions. By 1821, Mexico won its independence from Spain, and remember, Mexico thought they owned or felt they owned a fair part of this country. They couldn't decide what to do with the missions. And by 1833, the Mexican government passed a law that secularized the missions and effectively ended their work in California. The people returned home, continued their native traditions, and for many years lived wholly and fully, but it too gradually came to an end. Over the years, the tribal lands had been subjected to various incursions by the Spanish, Mexicans, and finally Americans. The Spanish wanted to convert the tribe to Christianity and then enslave them all. The Mexicans wanted to use the people as labor, so they were forced to work on the farms that had once been their own. And the Americans, well, God love us all, as we moved west to do the gold rush, we took the Indian laborers with us. The Miwok people were decimated by the disease brought by the invaders. They were subjected to atrocities, and those who survived were forced to live on various reservations that was their land in the first place. Now, I tell you all this because we live and we work and we play and we have our very being right here on Miwok land, and we know nothing about them. The Bay Miwok worshipped animals as ancestors, and animal legends were passed down from one generation to another. That's the reason I had asked Lisa to do the sacred reading this morning. That's a Miwok legend about how the people came back. Many stories the coyote was honored as their wisest, funniest, and trickiest trickster. But the silver fox is portrayed as the female and is the serious, wise one. Dancing was very important to Miwok spirituality. Men and women wore special costumes. They painted their faces, bodies red, black. They wore headdresses woven of beads and grass and shells and feathers. And the most important person in the village was the shaman. That was the spirit doctor. That was the person who was able to talk to the spirit gods. The shaman called upon animal spirits in dreams, and through their dances, songs, and chants, they were thought to have special powers to cure the sick, predict the future, start the rain. And I'm thinking of our owls, the owls that are driving us crazy in the palm trees out in the courtyard. But the fact is, the owls live here. Their spirit lives here. The power of the Miwok is still here. The Bay Miwok were a very grateful, established population. They didn't roam and wander like the native Plains Indians, like the Cheyenne and the Navajo, who had to go where the buffalo went. The Miwok didn't have to do that. That was not part of what they did. They weren't located in one place like the Acoma or the people in New Mexico. The Miwok roamed, but they roamed within a contained area, fishing and hunting, living peacefully and not venturing out, believing that absolutely everything in this world has spiritual power. Plants, animals, rocks, trees, the ocean. And because of this, the people, you can tell by the readings, tell by the stories, tell by the few things that they left, they took only what they needed from the land, and they weren't wasteful. Now, we now know a little history of our land, of where we're located, but as a good storyteller, it's important for me to help us all understand the history of our spiritual belief as a tribe. And I dare say that a fair number of us have a Christian tradition or a Judeo-Christian tradition somewhere in our background, and that would be our history. And you also know that in Unity we believe that the Bible has metaphors that help us. Every person, place, thing, and event that's in the Bible is something that helps us with our spiritual belief, with our spiritual system. So I'm going to talk to you for a minute about the Israelites. That's us. and how we came after 40 years of wandering in the desert. Remember, they left Egypt, wandered in the desert, came into the promised land. And for any of us who went to Sunday school, I don't know about you, but I was always taught that they were the first ones there. It was like, oh, look, there's the promised land. We'll go live over there. The only problem with that was there were indigenous people there already. This is the root of Palestinians. These are people who were already in the land when the Israelites arrived, and there was a problem. The Israelites had been in the desert, if you want to believe that metaphor, for 40 years, and in they came, and there was the city of Jericho, and it was in the way. So I want to tell you about Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. Now, Richard and I got to go to the Middle East. We were lucky enough to go in 1985. And one of the things that we did, it was a tour through the church, and one of the things that they did was, oh, you get to go see Jericho. You get to go see where the walls came a-tumbling down. So we get off the bus, we go to Jericho. It's a little town, and it's dusty, and you've got Israel over here that's green and beautiful and lush and wonderful, and then over here is the Palestinian land, and not so much. Jericho is in the Palestinian part. So we get off the bus, and the guide says, go up the hill, and so we truck up the hill, and you get to the top, and the guide says, now look down, and there's this hole. And it's, I don't know, 80, 90 feet down there. It's way down there. And the guide says, down there is the wall to Jericho. Now, I kid you not, I try, truly, to be a good believer. But there's nothing down there but dirt. It's a hole, all right? Maybe the walls of Jericho are down there. I'll give him that. Maybe. So we look at that. That's disappointing. We walk back down the hill. There's all this time to kill in Jericho. There isn't much to do. So we walk downtown, and there isn't much to even buy, and there was this shop. So Richard and I, being good shoppers, go in and see what's to be offered. Shop is dusty and ancient, and it's got these old display cabinets, and then they've got a little glass, and they need to be cleaned. You know, everything there could use a good wipe with a Windex. And so here it's kind of, you know, and you're looking in there, and there are all of these, what they're telling us are ancient stones or ancient coins or ancient pieces of pottery or ancient little statues. And they say, oh, you got to have one of these. It's like 1,000 years old. Oh, we dug this up out there where the wall was. And you got to, you know. So we looked at it, and we thought about it, and we decided, too expensive. So we didn't buy. We went out, didn't know what to do with ourselves, so we went wandering. We walked down the street and down another street and found ourselves in an alley behind the store. Okay? So Richard and I are looking, and we're kind of checking it out. Kid you not, down the alley comes this man with pot holders, a cookie tray like this, with all of these coins and pieces and artifacts, and he's going, hot stuff, out of the way, hot stuff, hot stuff. He had just pulled a whole cookie sheet of God knows what out of the oven, took it into the store, and they were selling it for being thousands of years old. So my history of Jericho is scattered, all right? It's a little questionable. We were deeply grateful that we hadn't spent a whole lot of money on a fake piece of pottery. But at that point, we got to thinking about what Jericho really meant. So now I'd like Lisa to do the reading from the Bible so that you have a sense of what the Bible says is going on in Jericho.
Now the gates of Jericho were securely barred because of the Israelites. No one went out and no one came in. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times, and the priests blowing the trumpets. When you hear them sound a long blast of the trumpets, have the whole army give a loud shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse and the army will go up, everyone straight in." So Joshua, son of Nun, called the priests and said to them, "Take up the ark of the covenant of the Lord and have 7 priests carry trumpets in front of it." And he ordered the army, "Advance, march around the city with an armed guard going ahead of the ark of the Lord." When Joshua had spoken to the people, the 7 priests carrying the 7 trumpets before the Lord went forward, blowing their trumpets, and the ark of the Lord's covenant followed them. The armed guard marched ahead of the priests who blew the trumpets, and the rear guard followed the ark. All this time the trumpets were sounding. But Joshua had commanded the army, "Do not give a war cry. Do not raise your voices. Do not say a word until the day I tell you to shout. Then shout." They did this for 6 days. On the 7th day, they got up at daybreak and marched around the city 7 times in the same manner, except that on that day they circled the city 7 times. The 7th time around, when the priests surrounded the trumpet blast, Joshua commanded the army, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city." When the trumpet sounded, the army sounded and shouted. At the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed. So everyone charged straight in, and they took the city. They devoted the city to the Lord and destroyed with the sword every living thing in it, men, women, young and old, cattle, sheep, and donkeys.
If you listen to only that story, I don't like us very much. I tell you this because we came into the promised land as conquerors, and we beat out the indigenous people who were already there. And ironically, we have been fighting about it ever since. Now, metaphysically, we could spend a lot of time on the number 7, on the thing about trumpets, about marching. But in fact, Jericho represents human consciousness in its relation to life. Jericho is our outer intellectual. It's the intellectual that people see, and it's in contrast to our inner spirit. The intellect has an absolute legitimate place in consciousness, but it seems to express the light of our understanding. So if the Israelites are our illumined thoughts and consciousness, the Israelites represent that part of us that always wants to try to do well. It's the voice of our angel that lives on our shoulder and says, well, we could do it this way with the principle, or we could do it that way without the principle. It's the total of our religious thinking. Those thoughts that are always endeavoring to follow divine law. So if you think about it that way, you think about those Israelites bringing down the walls of our intellect, then the very science of our being reveals that our intellect only shines in the reflected light of our being. If our intellect becomes egotistical, thinks that it originates in its own light, then it forms the adverse consciousness that is out of harmony with the divine. Now, when you look at it that way, the Israelites won. The walls came tumbling down. That's why I love metaphysics because it can take a story that looks pretty awful and turn it on its head. It has a different meaning when you think about it in the wonderful world of metaphysics. Now, as your storyteller for the day, that brings me to what's going on with us currently. How many are reading the book for the book study? Okay. The book was formed, we picked this book because there's a program steering team that runs the program here at Unity in Marin. And it has our teachers on it, Tim and I are on it. Sam Engel is on it. She's doing spiritual events. Janice Campbell, our licensed Unity teacher. And this team got to thinking that one of the things we needed to do as a community was we needed to figure out how to help us stand up. But before we stand up, we have to wake up. And this book was picked because it helps us wake up. And it's hard. I'm telling you, we're hearing from people who say, I don't want to study this. I don't want to know about people that are unfairly arrested and put in jail, and I don't want to understand about children under 14 that are put in jail for horrendous crimes. But we are doing it because we wanted to present the contrast of what spiritual social action looks like if you're awake. The thing that's interesting, we got to talking in our book study, was one of the things that interests us is when you talk about indigenous people and who takes over, it always seems to be the white people win. You understand, when they came and it was white soldiers that beat out the Indians in theory. You look at Jericho and the Battle of Jericho, there's this theory that it was perhaps the white Israelites that beat out the people who were already in the land. So it's interesting that this time, if you look at it, the people that are gathering on our borders, the people that are sweeping across our nation, they're all a people of different color. And I am thinking that we are the ones that are indigenous now. In this universe and in this time, we are the indigenous people. And it's the people of color who are breaking down our walls and changing our ways. Now, we're trying, we're fighting back. We're separating families at the border. We're sending people back. We're locking up children of color for horrible things. But it's just another way of trying to keep the people down. This time, the people of color are changing things up. Now, I am not sure what the answer is, but I do know that history teaches us that the invaders generally beat out the indigenous people. And I wonder, what is our compassionate response? Principle 1 teaches us that we are all one. In metaphysics or quantum physics, we're all sparks of light. Color, knowledge, social standing has absolutely no bearing on the universe as a whole. If you look at it, we are indigenous to the larger world, and what we do now matters. Through consciousness, our minds have the power to change our planet and ourselves. It's time that we heed the wisdom of our ancient indigenous people and channel our consciousness and our spirit to tend the garden and not destroy it. We each must find what is ours to do, and it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be expensive, but we do need to do it with our whole heart. For there is no one else to do it if we do not. We have to look deeper. We have to look way below the anger, the hurt, the hate, the jealousy, and the self-pity. We have to look deeper, way down under where our dreams begin. Find your dream, for it is the pursuit of the dream that heals us. I'm going to add a piece that's going to really confuse. Ed, would you come? And I'd like to play the first song that we sang, Carolyn's song. I want to go back to that. Can you go back to that in the booth? The song about stand up. And I want us as a congregation, as a tribe, to stand up and sing this song now, in light of who we are. Can you do that?